something a little different today. We are not in Kansas anymore, Toto. We're yonder, and we are meeting up with somebody that Rich knows and looking at some audio gear. Everyone has their niche. Vintage audio is definitely Rich's niche. So he knows a guy who has a warehouse, and we're going to basically, Rich is going to sell some of it on commission. It's the best way I can explain it. We're going to go in and see what we can do for this guy.
Out there messing, loading their stuff out for something. What he bought or bit.
Oh yeah,
This is a cool thing. I just
yeah.
don't understand why nobody wants this just as a decorative item, you know?
Yeah, the assembled, yeah.
It's beauty. But I get a spot in Grand Rapids now. I'm having to go for like the mid-century and the industrial design stuff. I'm taking to Grand Rapids, and it's a pain in the butt, but I thought, well, maybe I'll take that. When you go that...
We got some stuff loaded. I'll show you when we get back to the house when he's done chit-chatting. He can literally talk audio for hours. Alright, so we're back at the house. Unveiling.
Unveiling, unloading.
The purpose of doing this video in particular is to kind of show you where I'd say 60% of our income comes from. You see us go to thrift stores. You see us pick up $10, $15 every great once in a while. We get lucky items. The most money I have ever made off of one purchase was $600. The rest of our income comes from vintage audio gear. So I figured it would be good to show what, why, how, as much information as I can.
I will explain a lot.
Rich is going to explain most of this. I've been kind of, next to him for years and years and years as he's done this. And what I've picked up in layman's terms is real wood. Keep your eye out for real wood. And if it's the heavier, the better. When it comes to speakers and receivers, that kind of thing, big, heavy is good, but always look it up. Always, always, always look it up. One model number could be worth thousands. One model number off from that could be worth nothing. It could be a paperweight. So always look up the model numbers. They're usually on the back. Oh, of course, the lighting is terrible, but it is usually on the back. So always look up the model number. All right, so we're going to start with the turntables, but because I know nothing, I'm really just going to let Rich talk.
And she's not kidding. She really has no clue what this is. And prior to us being a pair and partners, she confirmed to me that she threw away
I probably have.
thousands upon thousands upon thousands. I mean, probably
He's
well
calling
into
me
the
out.
3-digit figure.
I probably did.
Thousands of vintage audio equipment.
I didn't
buying
realize
storage
it was
units.
even. I didn't even know it was worth anything. The amount of money that this stuff is worth is crazy.
Okay, so first off, we'll go with this Gerard turntable. This is more of on a collector's aspect. Now, Gerard did make quality, and they are a pretty decent turntable. But the era that it came from, the design, the look of everything, the custom looking dust cover top, the fact that you can stack records, it plays all the speeds, makes it desirable on those who collect turntables from this display. This being dirty is okay.
Real wood.
It is real wood, real quality pieces. It is a pretty decent turntable for what it is. But it does hold a collector's value. Once this is all cleaned up and I got it up and running right, I mean, I'm no problem gonna get $125 to $150 from it. It's not something that somebody's gonna use all the time, may not use at all. But for a display piece with the dust cover, it's really decent for something that you can normally pick up anywhere else, garage sales, resale shops for like, 10, $15. So if you know how to clean things up, it will make you a decent money. These two Philips turntables, they are both the same model. Now, this one's missing some pieces and stuff like that, but that's okay because I know how to part out items, and sometimes parting out non-working equipment will bring a lot more money than actually selling one that's in perfect working condition, because somebody who's restoring a turntable might need this, somebody else in Japan might need this knob, somebody might need this, and that does add up. And sometimes these mediocre, I can consider it mid-fi, not technically hi-fi of the highest quality, but the mid-fi equipment as parts pieces will bring top-notch dollar overall. I mean, you just got to know how to disassemble and take stuff apart and pack it and label it, and how to promote it correctly, how to do your ads correctly, and know what the pieces are called. And over time, you will, greatly profit for something that you could, pick up for $5 somewhere because it's a parts unit, and in the end make around $350, $400 in just parts.
And if you don't know how to part one of those out,
I would not do it.
You can list them for parts or repair on eBay, and I would say 9.5 times out of 10, they still
You won't
sell.
get what you're going to get if you're going to sell it part by part, but if you're picking it up for $5, you could definitely sell this as is on eBay for $75 to $100.
Non-working or non-tested.
Else will part it out for anywhere from $300 to $400. Now this one being complete, I can clean that up and I can sell that locally. I'll get $150 to $200 out of that turntable alone. And I do sell turntables without the cartridge because I make more money selling the cartridge alone. Some cartridges can be worth hundreds of dollars, and you can find those at times on $5 turntables at a yard sale. The very first thing I look at when I see a turntable anywhere is the cartridge, the part that plays the record. Those can be worth a lot of money, and it's worth buying a $20 turntable that's not good to sell a cartridge for $200 to $300 on eBay. All right, I'm not even going to correctly try to pronounce the name of this. Optica, I don't know. All I know is it is a high-end receiver. It is a big boy. It is very heavy. It's very well made. And I'm suspecting can get somewhere between $350 to $500, maybe a little bit more for this. If I choose to go local sale for it, I'll probably only get around $300. Just because shipping one of these really massive receivers that are huge and heavy is a little bit of a pain, and I try not to ship the pieces that are actually really good of quality. Because if something does happen on my packing part, I'm out. And sometimes I don't like the way FedEx packs because they don't understand the delicacy of the knobs, and they'll, roll it around to get all the bubble wrap on it, and that can do internal damage on the switches. And, like I said, replacement parts, to buy a replacement part once one goes bad, I mean, this part alone right there could cost you $100. Because it's the only one available at the time. Sometimes I'll hold on to pieces until they're no longer available on eBay because I know when I sell mine, it's either you buy mine or you don't get it. This is a Kenwood receiver. This is actually a very good receiver. I wish it had the wood case, but it doesn't have the wood case. That would add another $100 to it. But this is a $400 receiver. It is missing a knob, but it's not going to affect it that much. I actually may have a little switch knob somewhere or a set of switch knobs to change these out. I would suspect that both of these work perfectly fine. They are solid state. They're of good quality. They don't smell bad. They don't look like they've been housed, anywhere that would cause any kind of element damage to them. You know, they're actually in really decent condition, so I would suspect that they're fine. Even if they're not, I know how to fix some stuff. So, and then again, the vintage audio equipment, the reason why it's so valuable is because it is really, really good. There are some pieces out there that you would overlook that are worth thousands of dollars because the quality that they reproduce music is far greater than anything that they make today. You know, going on to these next pieces over here, this Dynica tube stuff. This is a tube preamp and this is a tube power amplifier. Now that's $900 in equipment as is, untested, sitting just how it is. I don't even have to touch it other than move it around for photos. And I can get $900 for both of these pieces if I sell them separately. I actually have a friend, acquaintance from Facebook, the audio pages, that I do business with, and several other people in the local area that I do business with that I contact first when it comes to tube gear. The 1950s, 60s, and early 70s tube equipment is some very good quality stuff when it comes to reproducing music and listening to music. To achieve the quality that this will give you in sound reproduction for today's equipment, you would have to spend at least $150,000 in gear to get the same quality for $900 to $1,000 you got there. They just don't take the time and the effort and the intricacy in building equipment these days unless you pay up for it. The demand for good quality modern equipment has jacked the prices up. I've actually personally listened to some stereo systems that were just under $1 million, and my personal stereo system is somewhere around the $4,500 range, and it sounds 10 times better than a few of the $500,000 to $750,000 stereo systems I've listened to. But yeah, don't overlook vintage equipment. Definitely look it up, like Chrissy was saying, model numbers. Even if it's something that is kind of busted up or missing some knobs or has some damage, look up the model number, because just for parts or repair alone could be highly worth it. You could buy something for $5 and turn around and sell it on eBay the next day for $500, just because the parts themselves are quite desirable.
There really is a market. He has surprised me on so many occasions where I don't know. I mean, he'll pick something up and he gets this look on his face, and I'm like, okay, it's something, but I don't know why. I don't know why it's something. And 3 days later, it's sold, and for hundreds of dollars.
Sometimes thousands.
Yeah, sometimes thousands. We went to an auction, I think last year. There was some tiny, it was probably a fourth of the size of that piece. Just this little tiny silver-faced doodad. He knew what it was. He knew exactly what it was. He went to this auction with a couple $100 in his pocket with every intention of paying up for this piece. And nobody else knew what it was. It went for $15, and we sold it within a week for $1,500. So $15 into $1,500 is what I'm saying. I mean, don't overlook vintage equipment. It only takes a couple minutes to look it up.
Look it up. Make sure you get the model number correctly. Because, I mean, me as an immense lover of music,
Which you can see
that appreciates
right there,
crystal clear sound quality, I'm always going to turn towards vintage equipment to listen to music on. It's just
that
because it is
cool.
the best, and that does look pretty cool.
It
That's
does.
a big
Cool.
monster early 1980s receiver. But yeah, the quality's there, and that's what people go for. Everybody who's actually really serious about listening to music and taking the time and effort into building stereo systems is going to pay you good money for good quality pieces of the vintage category.
I should note as well, it is not every piece of vintage stereo equipment.
Piece. There's a lot.
1
of
out of
out
10
yeah.
is probably something decent, if not really good.
But always look it up.
But always look it up. It could be junk, or it could be, it could be literally worth thousands of dollars. And a lot of people just don't know that.
No.
Or don't care if they're, clearing out their husband or ex-husband or ex-boyfriend's crap. They don't really care.
Grandpa that passed away that listened to a lot of records, he could have a turntable in the basement that's worth a few $1,000 that's being sold for $10-15 at a yard sale.
Yep, so it's worth taking a chance. It's worth looking up. Only takes a couple minutes. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you learned something. I still am learning with him about this stuff. It's something that if you know it, you know it. But even me, I have to look stuff up. I don't know this. I don't claim to know it. And I absolutely, if I see something, he's not around, I look it up. If it's something good, I will, snatch it and carry it over to him. And I've done it on a few occasions, and his face is just like, you seriously found that before me? Sure did. Sure did. So yeah, hope you learned something. Do you have anything to add, babe?
That's it.
All right.
Just look stuff up.
Look stuff up. All right, we'll see you later. Bye.